Hello, everyone. It's been a while, right? When was the last time we did a live stream? Look at that. The camera is not even pointing towards me correctly. It's been a very long time since we've done a live stream. And there's been a lot going on in terms of USMNT transfers the past few days. And we don't really have time to make a video breaking it down because the news keeps changing. Every single day it changes. So if I work on a video right now, tomorrow I will release it and that'll be outdated news. So we're going to do a live stream today. And if there are any other breaking news with USMNT transfers, we'll just go live. We'll just go live because the transfer window will close on Monday. All right. So you guys can make sure to drop a like on this video right now. And people are saying in the chat that I had too much coffee. And to that I say, there's no such thing as too much coffee. I mean, actually, that's not true. Some people are sensitive to caffeine and can have heart issues with it. So definitely don't drink too much coffee. But okay, so this is the most recent update on Ricardo Pepi's transfer to Fulham. Okay, and I'll share my thoughts on it of whether or not I think it's a good move or a bad move, even though I kind of talked about it already in the USMNT abroad episode. So right now, Ricardo Pepi turns down West Ham, which that is very smart these days to turn down West Ham. I don't know why anyone would want to play for West Ham, at least in their current state, right? We've seen better versions of them over the past few seasons. Even though if they get relegated, West Ham, they should be able to get back. But okay, so let's go through this here. They wait for Fulham to meet PSV's demands of 30 million pounds. How much is 30 million pounds in dollars? Let me see. Pounds to dollars. That might be like 40 million, I believe. Let's see. That is $41.3 million. That is an insane amount of money. If I'm not mistaken, Pulisic was like 60 or 70 million. So that's a lot of money that Fulham's going to pay for Pepi, which is good and bad at the same time. The bad is that there's a lot of pressure, but Pepi doesn't seem to feel pressure. So he should be fine in terms of that. But the good thing is there will be motivation from Fulham's end to actually develop this player, give him enough chances. Even though I don't know if 30 million pounds is that much these days for Premier League teams, right? So West Ham made a late window approach for the American striker, but they were knocked back. They were rejected by Pepi. It looks like Pepi wants to move to Fulham. I kind of like that. That's a team that historically Americans have done well with Fulham, right? We've had Brian McBride, we've had Clint Dempsey do very well with Fulham, Tim Ream very recently until he came back to Major League Soccer. And right now, we obviously have Anthony Robinson, our left back, Jedi Robinson, playing for Fulham and doing very well. So I would like this move. Ricardo Pepi would move at age 23, right? He's almost there, almost at 23 years old. And it looks like the deal might happen, right? Let me see here if I didn't miss anyone in the chat. So, what are my overall thoughts on Ricardo Pepi moving to Fulham? I think I talked about this before. I think short term, it's a bit concerning. Long term, I love it. Why do I say short term? It's concerning. Pepe's out till March because of that like arm injury that he had, right? When he fell. So when he gets to a new club mid-season while being injured, and they have Raul Jimenez, he's not starting over Raul. So Pepe could end up barely playing until the World Cup. And if you look at it from that perspective, there's two ways this can go. He'll either arrive in the World Cup in poor form or just not very match sharp because he's not playing very much. But there's also a universe where Ricardo Pepi doesn't make the World Cup roster. I know this sounds crazy, but think about it for a second. Balogun is the number one for Pochettino and for myself. Balogun's number one. For Mauricio Pochettino, number two is Haji right now. Just look at what he did in the previous camps. Like it looks to Pochettino that Haji Wright is number two, which means Pepi's fighting for that third spot with Ajiman and Sargent. Sargent, I don't know, man. Pochettino probably doesn't like him. He sucked for the U.S. men's national team for years. The whole transfer saga that we're going to talk about in the stream soon. So it becomes between Pepi and Ajiman. And you're going to tell me, he's like, dude, Pepi or Ajiman? That's a pretty easy choice right there. Pepi. But Pochettino loves Ajiman. He loves him a little bit too much, right? It's even a bit weird, in my opinion. But Ajiman's playing. He's scoring in the championship. So if Pepi goes to Fulham and he's not playing at all for like 3 to 6 months before the World Cup, I could see Pepi missing the World Cup again. So short term, that is a little bit concerning. Long term, Pepi will be fine. I have question marks on how long it'll take for him to actually adapt to the Premier League and actually be effective in the Premier League. I have doubts about that, but I do think long term, Pepi should be fine in the Premier League. Not that he's going to be like an incredible striker, but maybe hopefully he reaches a level of Raul Jimenez in the Premier League. I think that could happen maybe eventually, even though I think Raul is a very high ceiling for Pepi. That would be Pepi maximizing his potential, but I can see that happening. But my concern is that I think this move could lead to Pepi missing out on the World Cup. So that's the only concern. Long term, I love this move. Fulham is a great place for Americans. I have no doubt about that. They love Americans there. So I'm okay with that. Now let's talk about Alex Freeman. But before we talk about Alex Freeman, make sure to drop a like in this video if you haven't already. And let me put a quick word from the sponsor of this video. Otherwise, there's absolutely no way I'm paying rent this month, okay? It's already January 28th. Rent is due very soon. So a quick word from the sponsor of this video. Drop a like in the meantime. We'll be back very soon, and we're going to talk about Alex Freeman, all right? So we'll be back soon. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the big and final game of the season is right around the corner, this is your last chance to get into the football action before the next season. And by football, I mean American football, not soccer. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Personally, I like to play fantasy basketball and soccer, two sports I very much enjoy, and I like to do it because it adds an extra excitement to the game. It allows me to, root for a player or hate watch a player. And you know me, mostly I do hate watching. I love to hate watch. And Prize Picks is pretty easy to play. You choose 2 to 6 player projections for any sports. You then submit your lineup to check the entry fee and payout by selecting obviously the stats that you want that believe will happen in that game. Then you get matched into a group, and you can get real money by topping that group or by getting your picks right to win the minimum guaranteed. You can also play for free. That's important to point out with their free to play jackpot. So download the Prize Picks app today and use the promo code CLNS. So you will get $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. That is CLNS to get $50 after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Okay, thank you very much, Prize Picks. Thank you very much, everyone. Make sure to drop a like. So we already talked about Ricardo Pepi's update. He rejected West Ham, and it looks like Fulham and PSV are very close to reaching a deal for £30 million. And Pepi would move to Fulham this season. He's currently injured, and I talked about that. You can rewind if you just arrived. Now let's talk about Alex Freeman. Alex Freeman will be heading to La Liga. So Tom Bogert reported a few days ago, I believe 2 days ago, that Villareal has agreed to a deal to sign USMNT right back Alex Freeman from Orlando City. The deal is around $4 million plus $3 million in add-ons and a sell-on clause. So if they sell Alex Freeman in the future, they will be able to get a fee, Orlando City. Now, a lot of you may be asking, isn't that very low for Alex Freeman? I mean, this is a 21-year-old U.S. men's national team player that like it's a prospect, right? So usually you pay a premium for it. You pay like 10, 15 million for a player like this. The reason he was so cheap is because his contract was set to expire with Orlando City. So Orlando City had no leverage. They would either sell him for $4 to $7 million and hold on to a future fee, or he would leave for free later on. And Tom Bogert added here saying, Orlando City getting a potential fee worth north of $7 million and a sell-on clause is big. Orlando offered a U22 initiative contract extension, which is the young DP contract, but Alex Freeman was ready to go to Europe, so he rejected it. And he says that Freeman is happy that the boyhood club gets a fee, blah, blah, blah. So what I like about this is the mentality, because Alex Freeman could have signed that U22 contract, the DP, the young DP contract, made a ton of money, stayed here in Orlando, which is home to him, stayed comfy in MLS, but He is going to Europe and he's taking a big challenge. I know Villareal actually does need right backs, right? They need that right now. So he will get an opportunity right away. But this is a big challenge for the young player. He lands in La Liga, Villareal, a competent team that I don't know how things are going to go. This is another one, just like Pepi to Fulham, but I love the mentality of Pepi. I love the mentality of Alex Freeman to really push themselves, to go to a league where it's not going to be freaking easy. And Alex Freeman, the technical deficiencies that he has, he's going to have to fix that, develop. La Liga is a very technical league, very tactical league. So I love this for him. I don't know if he's going to be a right wing back, if he's going to be a central center back in the back three, a right center back in the back three. I like this move. And hopefully Villarreal does play him the next few months because Alex Freeman will very likely be in the World Cup roster. Very likely. And since he'll very likely be in the World Cup roster, we need him sharp. But again, just like Ricardo Pepi, short term, there's a few concerns about this move, right? I don't know how it's going to go in terms of playing time. Long term, I like it. I like it a lot. Okay, so very similar to Ricardo Pepi, in my opinion. I don't know on the short term. And long term, let's say things don't work out for him in Villareal. He can take a step down in Europe. There are weaker clubs. There are weaker leagues than La Liga. So very good move for the long term. And again, I think as a soccer player, you do have to think about the long term. And that's what Alex Freeman is doing here. And I want to talk about another player that is also thinking about the long term, a young American left back that just moved to the Bundesliga. Okay. And his name is Pedro Guimarães, the Brazilian American left back that was playing USL for Orange County. He was with the U17s, right, in the U17 World Cup. He's a talented yet raw prospect. He's a left back, which we very much need depth, right? We're calling up Arfston for crying out loud. So Pedro Guimarães is going to go to Eintracht Frankfurt. Will he play right away? Very likely not. I'm assuming they'll probably even loan him out. Kind of like what they did at Paxton. Maybe they'll loan him out to the Eredivisie, and I think that would be great for his development. But another American heads abroad, a player from USL. I very often say this, and people take me out of context. I think if you're a young player that is not hyped, he's not hyped, right? He's a good prospect, but he's not hyped like a Kevin Sullivan, for example, right? It's much easier and quicker to go to Europe at a young age if you play in USL. By young age, I mean like by the time you turn 18. Because and this is not a hit on MLS, which MLS fans, they're very sensitive. They're very sensitive people. It sometimes it gets a little annoying. I'm not talking shit about MLS. I'm just saying that if you're not a hyped prospect and you want to go to Europe very young, playing in USL will help you out. Why? Because you'll be able to get more minutes. It's a weaker league than MLS. And USL teams will also request a much smaller transfer fee. Some players can go for 300,000, 500,000. So a European club might be willing to bet on you. While MLS, obviously, they have more money. They can hold you. They can be patient. They'll want 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, 10 million if you do well. So if you are a young player and you're good enough to play in USL at age 16 or 17, and you want to move to Europe when you're 18, USL is a better option than MLS, in my opinion, if that's your goal. Now, again, I'm not arguing that MLS is a stronger league, a richer league, a better league. I'm not arguing that before the MLS crybabies start crying here in the chat. If anything, I am praising MLS. Okay, so you should say thank you to me. Just say thank you right now. If you're an MLS show, you should say thank you. Hopefully everyone understood what I meant right there. Now let's talk about those. And now I'm going to actually, this is going to help my point that I just made actually. Look at Diego Luna. Look at Diego Luna. He played in USL, Diego Luna. And then he went to MLS, to RSL, right? And then now look at this. Espanyol and Celta Vigo continue to have strong interest in USMNT and Real Salt Lake midfielder Diego Luna. I've been hearing this for like 2 years. And I believe Tom. It's definitely true. But they said the move happening is very unlikely before the end of the January window, as RSL does not want to lose Luna. Here's the difference between MLS and USL. MLS has a lot more money. So if Luna is an important player for RSL, which he is, and also very marketable because he is in the U.S. men's national team right now, they can hold him. They can, like Celta Vigo and Espanyol go, hey, we'll pay 3 million. RSL will say, no, we don't need that. We can hold him. We want 10. And then these clubs in Europe will just go and say, we're now willing to pay 10 million for Diego Luna. So he's just going to stay in MLS. There is a very high odds that Diego Luna could become an MLSer for life, right? Make a lot of money in MLS, do well, because he'll be kind of like Miles Robinson, right? Where he will be too expensive for a European team to be willing to pay. He's not good enough for them to pay what an MLS team is willing to pay for him. Okay. So as you can see, when I talked about Pedro Guimarães and players playing USL and heading to Europe right away, that's why I say USL is a better option if that's your goal. If your goal is to leave early, USL is a better option because MLS has much more money. They can hold you. If you're a good player and they want to bet on you for the future, just hold you in general, they can do it. MLS has money. Spicy Jeff is saying if they pay 40 million for Pepi, they will play him. Jeff, yes, you're right, but it doesn't mean they'll play him now. They might play him next season, and the World Cup is over the summer. Right now, Raul Jimenez is going to start. Now, mind you, Fulham also has Rodrigo Muniz, right, which he's injured a lot, but he's shown some signs that he can play in the Premier League. And he's young. Isn't he 24, 25, the Brazilian center forward? So they will play Pepi. You're right. Long term. That's what I was saying. Long term, they will play Pepi. He'll get chances. Short term, Raul Jimenez is the starter for Fulham, and I think it'll remain that way until he leaves during the summer. Miguel is saying, should the final friendly before the World Cup be against Mexico or Panama? I think it would give our players a good confidence boost. I think the final game is Germany or Senegal. We have two friendlies right before the World Cup. We play Germany and Senegal. I don't remember the order right now of which one we play first, but it's Germany or Senegal. So in terms of playing Mexico or Panama, that's not happening. It's not going to happen. Those friendlies are already already set. So now let's quickly talk about Josh Sargent. Okay, I want to talk about Josh Sargent right here. And I'm not going to put on screen every single tweet about it, or even, I mean, just in general, every single article about it. I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to put the main tweet that I think is important to cover. But let's go through Josh Sargent's saga real quick. And I want to go back all the way to the summer before we start. So during the summer, there was a bid from Wolfsburg, actually. Wolfsburg had they offered $28 million for Sargent. And Norwich accepted it. But Sargent didn't want to go to Wolfsburg to the Bundesliga because of his family. Okay, that's fine. Again, personal life, not going to judge the guy's personal life. I'm here to judge his career. From a career standpoint, that's not good because he was going to move to a much better league. He was going to leave a second division league in England and go to the Bundesliga, which is a top 5 league in the world. But he didn't go because of his family. That's fine. Now, in January, when Norwich is complete dog shit, he decides that it's time to go. And he's trying to force his way out. He refused to play, right? He sent a message to the coach saying he wasn't available for a game due to the transfer speculation of Toronto. Toronto, out of all cities, not even in the U.S., in Canada. He's not even coming back to the United States or St. Louis. He's not coming back home. He's going to Canada. He wants to go because of his family. So after that, obviously, Norwich was pissed off. They put him to train with the U21s. And Toronto offered 18 million, which is 10 million less than what Wolfsburg offered. And this is what I have to say. For anyone that goes, you don't understand. He has to do what's right for his family. You're right. I agree with you with that when it comes to that. But he signed a 5-year deal. So he can't leave only on his terms. The same way Norwich cannot get rid of Sargent only on their terms. They wanted to sell him to Wolfsburg for $28 million, but Sargent didn't want to go. So guess what? Norwich had to suck it up and keep Sargent. So again, he signed the contract. He can't leave on his terms only. There has to be a mutual agreement. And they want, I believe, $28 million, which is what they were offered. So Toronto's $10 million short. Okay. But after Sargent did what he did, refusing to play, which is super unprofessional, his agent went on this PR campaign, um, very likely using Tom Boger, giving him information. And I know people are giving Tom a lot of shit for this. I'm not going to give him a lot of shit for this because he's just reporting what he's being told by sources, and Sargent's agent is a source, right? I wouldn't do it, but I don't really blame Tom. He's just reporting what they give him. So, and this is what Tom said. After a heated meeting with Norwich, sporting director Ben Knapper, whatever his name is, and head coach Philip Clement, it appears that Josh Sargent has played his last game for the club. Sargent was visibly upset. One source says that there was a comment made regarding Sargent's family, which was the last straw. Okay, so this is very vague because I know the way this is worded, it sounds very bad. It almost sounds like they took a massive dump on Sargent's family. But this can mean many different things. I wasn't there. I don't know what they said. What if the comments were something like this? Okay, I'm just speculating now. Let's speculate for a second. Let's say that Sargent was in the meeting and he's like, "Oh, I really need this move because my family wants to move to North America. We want to go back to North America and live in Canada." What if the comments were from the sporting director, the coach is like, "Dude, we don't give a shit about your family. This is business. We need Toronto to match the asking price." What if they said something like that? And then Sargent just like got angry about that. So look, if I were to be completely honest, I think Josh Sargent is on the wrong side here. I thought he was very unprofessional. I think it's also a poor moment for him to do this for a club that has always stood by him. I know he standed with them when they got relegated, but also maybe he didn't really have any offers, right? So a club that was always very supportive of him. I think that Sargent should have stayed or should stay until the end of the season, but he's not going to apparently. Help them not get relegated, and then tell them during the summer, "Hey, I would like to leave and go to MLS. I want to go back home." So I don't agree with what Sargent is doing. I wish him the best, and I hope his family is happy, like legitimately happy. I hope when they get the move, everything's good with his family. That's the least that I can expect out of this because this is a shit show. From a career standpoint, this is a horrible look for Josh Sargent. So I hope, to the very least, once he moves to Toronto or to MLS, that his family's happy. Because at least I guess it would have been worth it for him if that happens. But outside of that, looking at it from a career perspective, if you don't want to stay there, don't sign a 5-year contract. He signed a 5-year contract. So once again, in terms of his career, this is horrible for him, what he's done. It's a very the way he went about it was stupid. He should have finished the season with Norwich, helped him not get relegated, get the move over the summer, be professional. Now refusing to play when your club needs you, rejecting an offer during the summer. Well, they were going to let him leave during the summer because the offer was right. And then you're forcing your way out for a team that's not offering the money they want after you rejected a move during the summer. I'm sorry, like the club cannot make financial and business decisions only based on what Josh Sargent's family wants. So I hope everyone understands that. I wish Sargent and his family the best. It's just a very bad look from a professional standpoint, in my opinion. Okay? You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments section down below. Now, listen up, everyone. Don't forget to drop a like in this video right now. Help us hit 200 likes right now. If you're in the chat, help us hit 200 likes. If you missed the stream, go back to the beginning. I talked about the Ricardo Pepi transfer. I talked about the Pedro Guimarães transfer to the Bundesliga, a young promising left back from the United States. I talked about Alex Freeman to Villareal. That one's official, apparently. Pepi to Fulham is not official yet. When it is, we'll go live. And then I think that's all. I think that's all. All right, so that's all for today, everyone. Don't forget to drop a like once again. Thank you, Prize Picks, for sponsoring this video, this stream. And we have some big news coming up soon. We are working if you're here right now, this is breaking news for you. I'm not going to reveal which one. We are working to get the rights of a specific league that we're going to be able to stream it here in North America, here on our channel. Not the whole league, a few games. So we'll let you know when that happens. So we are going to have the rights very soon, hopefully, the next month or two, to stream actual games of a specific league. Okay? I can't really talk about it too much. Hopefully it does happen. We're very close. We're very, very close. Hopefully it happens. We'll keep you all updated. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys on Monday for the USMNT Abroad episode, or if Pepi gets a move, we'll go live tomorrow, Friday, whenever. Thank you for watching. Drop a like, everyone. Have a blessed week. And if I don't see you till then, have a blessed weekend. Ciao.